Hey YouTube, Phil Baumhart here. So for today's video, I've got a piece of coil spring that I already cut off of the coil, and what I'm going to do today is make myself a hunting knife. I've been making a lot of things recently for other people, and I want to make a knife for myself that I can keep, selfish as that sounds. I want to be able to use my own coil spring knife this year to field dress my deer, and then kind of use that to further test out the steel and see how well it performs for myself. But for this video, I got a few new tools. I went out to the Blacksmith Depot, Kane & Sons, and I bought a 3.3 pound Peddinghaus Swedish style hammer and 1-inch blade tongs that the Blacksmith Depot makes. These are USA made. They're specifically designed to hold a blade of about a 1-inch width there, and they've got kind of their offset so you can get a better purchase on there. And then the Swedish hammer got a squared off face, which is better for controlling the movement of metal. So with a round faced hammer like the one I've been using, this is my this is a 4-pounder, but with that round face sledgehammer, it just distributes the metal in every direction. With this one, it's going only in 4 directions, so you have a little bit more control over the movement of the steel. And then the cross peen on here, that kind of works like a rolling pin, and that should give me more width if I so desire. But I'm looking forward to seeing how these things work. So let's get going. So already I like these tongs a lot. This 1-inch size is still perfect for holding on to this round coil spring. I'm going to try and leave a little opening so I can see the steel and keep an eye on the color. And I use this little hole in the in my cover here to keep an eye on it, so it's right down in there. So I started off with my 4-pound hammer with the sledgehammer head. I finally refer to that now as the Punisher, and if you've seen the Netflix show, you'll know why I call it that. But I'm using that just to kind of do some brute force work, flattening out that coil spring. That extra weight just helps move stuff a little bit faster. Since it's my heaviest hammer, I'm using it for this kind of rough shaping. But you can see that when I don't hit it like perfectly center, it kind of bulges out the side there, and I get kind of a wavy pattern, so I gotta go through, straighten that out as I go. And I got a little too hot there, you can see it burning away. Alright, time to try out the new hammer. So that's going to be my tang. So my plan for this is going to be a full-length narrow tang. So here's a good shot that shows those blade tongs in use. They really give you an excellent grip on the knife. Definitely recommend them. So I'm starting to step down for the tang here. So here I'm trying to center up that spine. In addition to making it a little bit longer, I'm trying to center it up so that I have a shoulder by the blade and the spine, and that way it'll allow me to put a handle on it. So here I'm working on the blade, and in some of these shots you might be able to see kind of the hammer marks from the face of the hammer. It gives it a very smooth surface rather than some of those like crescent moon indents from the round hammer, because the Swedish hammerhead has got a slight convex face. So unless I get a real errant blow and I'm hitting it with the corner, it leaves kind of like an L-shaped mark. But for the most part, it keeps the face of the blade much smoother, and then any hammer marks in the blade are really due to the smith. So here I'm using the cross peen to kind of give the point a little bit extra width. I'm going for a narrow tip, but I wanted a gradual taper, and I'll show you the inspiration for that here at the end of the video. And then before I anneal it, I'm straightening it up in the vise. Especially with these bigger blades, it's easier for them to be kind of wobbly. So to anneal it, I heated it up in the remnants of my charcoal there, and then just let it air cool. So you can see it's still kind of glowing there. So it slowly cools down. And next morning, take it out. So I let this just sort of let it sit in the ashes overnight, and this thing is still warm to the touch. Like, I don't want to leave my hands on there too long. So hopefully that should have annealed it. Here I am on the grinding wheel, just starting to put the bevels in and clean up the face. Setting up that board like I did really gave me a spot to lock in the blade, and it gave me good leverage to grind off as much steel as possible in one stroke. So I'm truing up the spine and edge on the end of the wheel there, You can see I can really lock in that blade and do a fairly even grind, even on a circular wheel. Making so many sparks that it burnt a little hole in the bottom of my table there. And then I gave it just a go over with the file, just to neat it up. So the inspiration for this knife was some finds of Viking knives in Norway. I've got a good number of them with this. It's kind of a long, narrow drop point. I'll call it an elongated drop point. So I have a really good stabbing tip, but it's a little more elegant than the Anglo-Saxon sea-axe. So you can see my knife is very much in the same style as those Viking finds. If you're interested in learning more about these, you can go to my blog, blackheartforge.blogspot.com, and I've got the pictures and a little more info on them there. And then if you want to see my current works in progress, you can check out my Facebook page, Blackheart Forge. So if you hit the like button and follow the page, you'll kind of see my updates on a day-to-day basis, what I'm working on. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, be more Viking.